I realized I hadn't given you an update on the blueberries in a while. You'll see some ripe ones down in there, and they're pretty good size, so I'd say bigger than last year's. And you shouldn't be pulling them off like I am. If they're ripe, if they're truly ripe, they should just fall off in your hand. You shouldn't have to do the force like that. But these are close enough for me. You'll see the pink on this one and this one. And actually, this variety of blueberries, and I don't know if it's true for all blueberries, but this variety of blueberries will actually continue to ripen off of the vine. So I can pull these ones that are a little bit pink, and they will continue to ripen at home on my counter or even in my fridge, and they'll be fine. So since I'm not going to be out here for a couple days, I'm going to go ahead and pick these that are super close to being ripe, because they're going to finish ripening and all will be well. So that's what they're looking like. I got a tree growing in here I'm going to have to do something about. But yeah, I'm going to finish picking these and then head over to the big garden. Hey everybody, out here at the farm today. You probably can see it's quite windy. We have some storms on their way, so I'm not going to get much done out here today. You can see things are doing okay. See the yellow going on the bottom of these sunflowers, and these cucumbers here. It's just too hot and too dry. They're blooming real pretty, and they are starting to make little baby cucumbers on them. But y'all, we desperately need rain. We even, at my house down the road, we even have a maple tree and a poplar and a wild cherry that the leaves are starting to change color. And I don't think I've ever witnessed that in June as we are right now. And that's a sign that those trees are greatly stressed. And if something doesn't change, we probably will start seeing a lot of trees just dying and giving up. Which doesn't bode well for hurricane season. If we do get some hurricanes that come through, these dead trees will just fall over and make a serious mess and be incredibly dangerous. So if you're of the praying kind, if you wouldn't mind praying for some rain for us. If you're somebody who does the rain dances, that'd be great too. You can pray and dance at the same time. We could use any and all of it. But that's my soapbox for today. Black-eyed peas were looking real strong. We're looking real good. Now they've just kind of stopped. And I assume it's because I dropped the water that I was giving them. So if it doesn't rain today, which is supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, and they're calling for about a ½ inch for us. If we don't get that by midday tomorrow, I'm going to come out and bump the water back up where it was. Because this just isn't going to work. Everything was looking so good. If you'll look here at these eggplants, they are getting little buds on them. So they should be blooming soon. If you've never seen an eggplant bloom, they are absolutely gorgeous. These little squash plants are trying to hold in there or keep coming and looking for squash bugs. Problem is, I keep pulling the squash bug eggs off and taking the whole leaf with them and don't leave much plant left. So I haven't gotten a single squash yet. Look at this volunteer tomato. It is doing absolutely beautifully. I've done nothing to it other than give it a cage to stand on. Look at those little squashes down in there. This thing is all wilted up, and that's from the wind blowing so strong today and the fact that it wants some water. But hopefully we're going to get this rain. You see some flea beetle damage on the eggplant, but surprisingly these plants are just getting bigger and bigger even though the flea beetles are eating on them. So I'm just letting them go. They're not bothering anything. Oh, I might have a squash here. Look at that. Oh, nope, too tiny. But when they do come in, look how many are on that plant. There's 3 right there. And I think I saw some more. There's a little baby one. Got like all the stages of squash there. I think I'm winning in the squash bug war. But you never know. But that plant is huge. And the funny thing, if you'll remember, I planted all of these at the exact same time. There's some squash bug eggs I need to do something about. But I planted all of these at the exact same time. So this plant and this plant and this plant are exactly the same variety from exactly the same seed pack, planted at exactly the same time. So why does that one look like that and that one look like that? Needless to say, when I get some squash out of this one, I'm going to try and save some seeds because I want to grow that one, not that one. And supposedly, that's how you can do that. So if you remember, I planted a bunch of flowers in amongst these to try and deter some of these pests. Well, most of them got weeded out by my parents because they didn't know I had done that. But there is a zinnia. That's going to be some kind of interesting flower. This, I believe, is a native weed. But yeah, these little plants are holding their own. That one's got a little squash on it. They're trying to make it. That one just decided to finally come up, which is interesting. And I'm going to come through and pull all these squash bug eggs off and get rid of them. And I've just been, well, I flushed them one time, flushed them down the toilet, thrown them in the trash. The biggest thing is just to get them out of the environment and get them where they can't reproduce. Can't grow up to be big and can't reproduce. There's another squash one there. Let's see what these zucchinis down here are looking like. We might have a zucchini. This plant's not looking too great. I had to do some looking and see what's going on. Oh, look, it's a stripy zucchini. How did I get a striped one? Well, that's interesting. Certainly didn't plant that, but that's okay. I'll eat him. None on those just yet. I did see, well, I had seen, did something happen to it? I think something got to it. I had a little cantaloupe plant there, and apparently something got it. Well, that's interesting. I wonder what happened. Well, that's gone. Only one of those had come up. This beautiful chamomile is still doing really well. It smells absolutely amazing. These green beans, full of blooms and baby little green beans on them. They just really need some rain. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully we're going to get that. These pepper plants starting to get bigger plant, which is great. You'll see these sweet potatoes looking good. They've got a little flea beetle damage too, but I've never seen where that really caused any issues with what I grow anyways. I'll show you down here. There was a really pretty one. Let's see. See, like this one. These are their new leaves. Beautiful plant. And if you remember, those were just little sticks. They didn't have roots or anything. Some of them didn't even have leaves. And look at that. And they've just been hanging out in this row with these peppers, getting a little bit of irrigation, but nothing special. See, that one's already starting to run, and it's going to vine out. And what I want to do is I'm going to train them to stay in this row. So I want to use them as ground cover for these peppers, because peppers will go, the peppers will stay in this row and they will continue to grow until we get frost. So they'll be here a long, long time, and so will the sweet potatoes. So what I'm going to do is try and train all these sweet potatoes to be my ground cover. See the wind? Hopefully they don't break my little sunflowers. But trying to get this as ground cover to keep down the weeds, and we'll see how it works. But plants are looking nice and healthy and doing really well for as little attention as they've gotten. Peppers looking somewhat, these on the end here, these side little peppers are just too close to this tree. And that's kind of the case. You can see where the growth gets stunted. If you look this way, same thing. Everything closer to these trees is much smaller than the rest. So like I said, green beans looking pretty good. Butter beans have kind of sort of come up. They're looking like they want a lot more water. So like I said, hopefully we're gonna get it. I did come through on Tuesday, so a couple days ago, I did come through and I planted some more seeds. Let's see what they're doing. Well, I didn't think they were that far down in there, but maybe so. Well, just had to take my word for it, I guess. Because I don't know where they went, but they are down in there. We'll see if they come up or not. This will be now the third time that I've planted these butter beans. And I just can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. So, just keep trying, I guess. You'll see all the tomatoes on these plants. They are loaded with tomatoes. You look at those clusters there. Some nice size ones down this way. Look at that. I expect to see some of these start changing color definitely in this next week, especially if we can finally get some cooler weather. You'll see the marigolds down in there blooming and doing really well. Loads of blooms on these tomatoes, which is interesting because it's been so hot you would think they would have stopped blooming, but they have not. They are full of blooms. I did come through on this section. Look at those tomatoes over there. Look at that cluster. I did come through on this first section here and put another string, so you'll see, well, I don't know if you can tell, but I put a center string between the two other ones to hold up these branches that had fallen over. So like you see these ones here that have fallen and they're outside of where I want them to be. I need to come through and bring another string along the middle and get them back up. And probably after this rain, I'll need to put a top string along here and get the tops up real well. Seeing a little blight on that one, but we'll get that taken care of. I have not seen any more blossom end rot, so that's really good. But yeah, these have become kind of a mess because it's been too hot to really be out here doing anything. But I'm going to have to make that a priority this next week before they get too farther out of hand. Now if we'll come down here, check out the next thing, which is this next round of corn. Let's see here. I'm sorry for the wind noise if that's creating an issue. It's quite windy. So you'll see this second batch of corn has caught up to the first batch of corn, and I actually think this second batch of corn is going to be taller, and I think it looks healthier. Now the only thing I can figure is because this first batch was so stressed by the cool, dry weather that we had that I think it was stunted from the beginning. Now, next thing I want to show you, so this corn, hold on, let me back up. This corn here, before I get distracted, is already starting to tassel. So there's the very, very beginnings of a tassel, which means that we ended up with the second batch of corn being about 3 weeks behind this first batch of corn. Now you remember, this is Silver Queen, this is Silver King. Now this Silver King, I'm imagining that there are a couple, there are probably some ears in here that I can harvest. So I'm going to go through and take a look and see if there are any. I'm hoping there are. But something that we've been dealing with, and I'll come down here so I can show you better. But something we've been dealing with is this hot mess. Let me back up a little bit. You see all of those stalks on the ground there. So we have been visited by, more than likely, an entire family of raccoons. And they have been incredibly destructive. You'll see right here. Really made a mess. Took out all that corn there. So I would say we probably lost at least a quarter of this corn crop. Which is incredibly disheartening and frustrating after all the work it took just to have it here to begin with. But I'll show you what we did to try and do something about it. Because if you'll remember our electric fence that goes around the edge, it initially had 4 strings. So it had this top string, this next string, and then it had 2 lower strings. It now has 7 strings. See, all those little clips have a string attached to them. And what we're thinking is that, and you'll see right here, the weight to hold the line down. But we're thinking there are some gaps underneath this wire where the raccoons could shimmy under and they weren't getting shocked. So we went through and added a couple extras. We added an extra string. That didn't seem to do anything, so we added another extra string and then went around and did these ties so that we could keep the strings, because there's long distances between that post and that post. And what happens with that is these strings will sag. And we don't want them to sag because, one, they may touch the ground and then not work anymore. But they also may just make gaps where the raccoons could get through. So we did some little ties there, and then this one needed a little extra help. So it's got this rock as a weight holding it down onto that plastic spool there, because this looked like a good place for the raccoons to get through. Now, because they've caused so much damage already, I can't really tell if we've helped or not. We just did that on Tuesday, and today's Thursday. But I'm hoping we slowed them down at least a little bit, and we'll see what happens, because I've never tried the Silver King corn and I really wanted an opportunity to try it. So hopefully we'll get at least a little bit. If you look back there, you can probably see the storm clouds, but you also see the maple leaves turning inside out. It's usually a sign that rain's coming. But if you look here at this oak tree, if you look close, its leaves are already starting to curl and already starting to turn brown. So that tree is quite stressed, and that's just a result of our drought on. It's not looking good in this area. But what is good news, I planted some green beans. When we took out the potatoes, I put green beans right back in their spot, so that hopefully we would get some, and it looks like they came up fairly well. I do have irrigation on them now, so hopefully they'll do even better, because they are not coming up well up that way, but hopefully they'll get better. That was older seed on that right side up that way, so it may just not come up, and that's okay. But I wanted to fill that up with something. We also have a couple little straggler sweet potatoes over here. They're doing pretty good. The strawberries lost in the weeds there. I did get another strawberry on Tuesday, and it was absolutely delicious. It was smaller than they have been, but it was so tasty. My onions down in here, all in the weeds as per usual, and then you also have to watch out for this lovely thing with all of its thorns. That's a type of nettle, and it will definitely not make your day. But we'll check on the onions down here where there aren't spiky things. Oh, look. Speaking of strawberry, there's one right there. Don't mind if I do. I love a garden snack. Oh, I think I see another one. Nope, not ready. Let's look real quick. Some of this grass has gotten absolutely crazy. I think the ones on this end have pretty much decided they're done. Anyways, back to the onions. I don't think they've been getting enough water to do much else, so I think they're pretty much done. You see the weeds have really gotten out of hand, so I'm going to have my work cut out for me trying to find them down in there. This right here also has some wicked thorns on it. Like wicked thorns. You see that one right in there. That is a type of amaranth. A wild grain. You could totally eat it if you wanted to. I don't plan to. We'll come over here and you'll see where, if I get off of the new ones, these are the new wildflowers that are coming up. And hopefully with some rain they'll get going a little better. But our other batch of flowers is coming up really well. I've picked 3 bouquets out of this now. Some flowers have bloomed. Let's see if we can get yeah. And I see this cute little one down here. Just a little bitty one. Got a view from it over here. Beautiful, and I didn't plant those. And so they're quite a few weeks ahead of the ones that I planted. I've got to watch being under these trees here while the wind is blowing. You'll see some hickory nuts here on the ground. So one of these trees right here must be a hickory. But they're big and they're old, and this wind is strong, so I don't want to take a chance of being under them for very long. Let's see. Flowers are looking really good. We've got, I think, just about every color straw flower that exists, which is amazing because I love them. They stay really well in your flower arrangements. They'll last for a long time. So I don't know how long these radish pods take to dry out. They've changed color, but I feel like they're still really moist. So I'm letting them hang out because I want to try drying them and reusing them. You'll see here on the carrots, we have anybody that's ready. You can see the tops of them there. It's really time to harvest these, but I've kind of been just taking some out and thinning them because I had them too tight and they aren't really filling out like they should. But there are new little baby ones that hopefully will take off. Same with the beets. You'll see all of that red there is some new beets. But yeah, the onions are hiding in that grass. This next week, we're gonna come out and get a lot of this cleaned up and in better shape. You can see here But this onion is not done because this has not fallen over yet. And I'm trying to be patient and wait for them to actually fall over. But I'm scared that if I do that, I won't be able to find them in these weeds. But I'm going to try. I'm going to see how long I can hold out, because I want to see how big they actually will get. And I haven't babied them as much as I should have. Next year I'm going to put more effort into onions, because it's been an interesting experiment. And like I said, this next row here is the green beans, and you'll see on this end they didn't come up nearly as well. But they're trying. You can see here where they're pushing up the soil. It's so amazing to me that they're strong enough to do that. And you can see here, remember me talking about that crust? So that is how thick the crust is on top of the ground that seed has to push through to get out. Look how thick the crust is on that one. Crazy. So you have to have a large, strong seed to be able to get through the ground right now, because we just aren't getting the rain we need. So I'm gonna check out this corn, see if I can rescue some ears before this wind takes it out. And looking at this sweet corn, there's a couple things. So I've been told that not to pick your sweet corn until your silks get brown, but you also should be able to easily pull the silks out of the end. And you'll see that was stuck. So same with this one over here. If I pull on those silks, they're staying attached and they should come free. So this corn is not ready yet. The other thing you can look at, and a raccoon helped us by opening this one up. Another thing you can look at, I'm actually going to go ahead and take this one off. It's got some little buggies going on. You can take and open up this corn stalk, this corn cob. Hang on, let me put you down for a second. So you can take this corn cob that I've shucked, and it actually, honestly and truly, I think you could go ahead and pick that. But the next thing you want to do is you want to take this and you want to break it in half. So let's see, I probably can't do that one-handed. Put you down again. So you want to break it in half, and you want to look for that milk line. Let's see if it'll focus on it. Hello. It's not wanting to focus, but alright, well, you can see where there's kind of a line right here in those pieces of corn, and it's probably almost halfway up. I'm sorry, it's so blurry, it just won't focus on it for some reason. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So it's about between a third and a half. And that's the milk line. And so in order for this to be nice, creamy, and sweet, you want that milk line to be a little bit further. So probably have 3 or 4 more days left on this corn. So if I take some of these kernels here, and I pop them open, they're not going to be milky. You want this to be milky, and it's not. See how that's very gel-like? It's not white and milky and sweet. So this corn isn't ready yet. And it's also pretty hard, which is telling me it's also not ready yet. But you can see how that inside of it is very gel-like. When this corn is ready, that should be very milky white. and it should really make a mess all over my hands. So not ready just yet. I will toss this corn over the fence and let the wildlife have it. But hopefully this weather that's coming won't knock all this corn down before it can finish getting ready. Like I said, I'm thinking we probably have 3 or 4 more days before it's ready. So early next week, hopefully we're picking this first round of corn. And hopefully you've gotten something out of this video. I'm sorry we haven't really done a whole lot recently, but that should be changing here shortly. I hope you've enjoyed coming along. If you have any suggestions other than just rain for any of the issues you saw today, let me know. I'd love to have some suggestions. I hope you're doing well wherever it is that you are, and that your garden is looking absolutely beautiful, and that hopefully you're already harvesting some of its bounty. I'll leave you with the sounds of the farm and the impending storm, and y'all take care.